Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you've ever felt that quiet ache in your chest, wondering why another man's girlfriend looks at you the way she does, this video will unsettle you in the best way. Before we begin, take 1 second to like this video and subscribe, because what I'm about to share is rarely spoken out loud, and it can change how you see every interaction from today forward. I'm speaking to you as a psychologist, not to flatter fantasies, but to sharpen your perception. When a woman begins to fall for someone while she is still emotionally attached elsewhere, the mind doesn't announce it with fireworks. It leaks through behavior, soft, deniable, quiet signs that only a man who is paying attention will catch. And the first signal is this: her attention starts to feel personal. She doesn't just look at you, she studies you. Your reactions, your tone, your silences. You'll notice she brings things back to you that you barely remember saying. A sentence you dropped weeks ago, a frustration you mentioned in passing. This isn't casual curiosity. This is emotional bookmarking. Her mind is tagging you as significant. And the reason this matters is simple and dangerous at the same time. Attention is the first currency of emotional intimacy. When she starts spending it on you instead of him, something inside her structure has already shifted. The second signal hides inside contrast. She begins to subtly compare, not always with words, but with energy. When she talks about her relationship, there's a strange flatness to it. No warmth, no sparkle. And when she talks to you, even about ordinary things, her voice carries light. This is not accident. The human nervous system does not lie about where it feels alive. She may still be loyal in behavior, but emotionally, the gravity is bending. Here is the uncomfortable truth most men miss. A woman doesn't fall because of what you do alone. She falls because of how she feels when she is with you. Seen, safe, energized, understood without performing. If she starts lingering in conversation, stretching minutes into hours, delaying goodbyes for no reason she can explain, you are no longer just an acquaintance in her emotional world. Now listen carefully. This is not permission to pursue recklessly. This is awareness. Because the next signal is internal conflict. You will feel her pull close and then step back. Warm one day, guarded the next. That isn't indecision. It's conscience colliding with emotion. The push and pull is the psychological signature of attraction under restraint. And if you misread it, you can either harm her or yourself. The fourth hidden shift is in vulnerability. She shares fears she doesn't joke about, disappointments she usually masks. You become a safe witness to parts of her that her current partner rarely sees anymore. When this happens, you are no longer just someone. You are becoming emotionally relevant, and relevance is the doorway through which feelings walk in quietly. If even one of these signs feels uncomfortably familiar, don't rush to conclusions, but don't dismiss them either. Attraction does not announce itself with confession. It whispers through behavior long before it speaks through words. And what you do with that awareness will reveal more about your character than about her feelings. Stay with me, because the next truths get sharper, and they will test how deeply you understand human desire. The fifth signal hides in something most men completely misunderstand: her resistance. When a woman is falling for you while still attached to another man, she doesn't always move closer. Sometimes she does the opposite. She creates rules, distance, sudden boundaries that weren't there before, and this confuses men because they assume attraction always pulls inward. But psychologically, attraction under guilt often pushes outward first. When her feelings start crossing internal lines, her conscience steps in like a guard. She limits how often she sees you. She becomes more formal, less playful, then suddenly slips back into warmth again. This emotional stuttering is not rejection, it is containment. She is trying to keep the leak from becoming a flood, and the stronger the attraction, the stricter the rules become. The sixth signal is in how she reacts to your absence. When you pull away, even slightly, she notices immediately. Not always with complaint, often with subtle anxiety. She checks in under safe excuses, sends a message that technically has no emotional weight, asks neutral questions that carry emotional curiosity underneath. This is critical. A woman who is not emotionally invested does not track absence. Silence doesn't disturb her nervous system. But when she is conflicted and attached, your disappearance creates emotional static she can't ignore. Now understand this. She may never say she misses you. Instead, you'll feel it in the timing of her messages, the speed of her responses, the relief that slips through when contact resumes. These are not accidents. They are regulation behaviors. The mind trying to stabilize emotional imbalance without admitting what caused it. The seventh signal appears when she defends you in rooms you're not in. Someone makes a casual remark about you, a criticism, a joke at your expense, and she reacts more strongly than the moment calls for. Not aggressively, but with subtle protection. She reframes you, justifies you, softens how others see you. This is social loyalty beginning to transfer, long before physical loyalty ever does. Here's the uncomfortable psychological layer beneath all of this. She is building an internal version of you, a mental presence, a reference point. You start influencing how she sees situations, how she evaluates herself, how she interprets emotional experiences. When she begins asking, "What would you think about this?" even casually, you've entered her decision-making space. That is not casual territory. That is emotional primacy forming quietly. But listen carefully now. This is where most men sabotage everything. They sense this gravity shift and become impatient. They push for clarity, for confession, for proof. And pressure is exactly what collapses the emotional structure she is trying to hold together. When a woman is torn, she needs time to resolve the identity conflict before she can resolve the relationship conflict. If you force it early, her fear wins, not her feelings. Attraction grows best in emotional safety. Not pursuit, not confrontation. And you are being tested right now, not on how desired you feel, but on how grounded you remain when desire exists without permission to act on it. The eighth signal is subtle, and most men completely overlook it: her subconscious mirroring. You've probably noticed it before, the way she starts picking up your gestures, the way her tone begins to echo yours in conversation. It's almost imperceptible, but it's a psychological truth. When a woman mirrors you without realizing it, she is mentally aligning with you. Her unconscious is trying to create connection before her conscious mind gives permission. This happens because humans crave familiarity and safety in relationships. When she is emotionally drawn to you, her body and mind begin practicing harmony, even if her conscious mind resists. You'll see it in her posture, her laughter, the rhythm of her speech. It's not mimicry, it's a wiring change. You've become part of her internal world, and once you notice it, you can feel the intensity of her emotional pull, even if she's outwardly restrained. The ninth signal is in emotional leakage, the little slips of truth she can't hide. These happen when she's tired, distracted, or feels safe. She'll let out sighs that aren't just frustration. She'll reveal preferences or desires that betray her current attachment. She may even let her eyes linger longer than social norms allow, or her hand may brush yours by accident too often. These are not accidents. They are impulses revealing where her emotional energy truly flows. Most men misread these signs as friendliness or coincidence. But if you're attentive, you'll feel the difference. There's a weight behind the glance, a pulse behind the touch, a warmth behind the words that shouldn't be there if her heart were fully elsewhere. Emotional leakage is honest, and it's hard to conceal once it starts. The 10th and most telling signal is the way she evaluates her own choices around you. She becomes quiet in reflection. You may hear her ask questions indirectly about values, boundaries, or desires, questions she never asked before. She is measuring you, comparing you to her current partner, and more importantly, judging the potential risk and reward of crossing invisible lines. This internal debate is a psychological signature of someone caught between desire and obligation. Here's the harsh reality. You cannot force this moment. You cannot push her to admit it. If you do, you break the subtle tension that allows her emotional truth to emerge naturally. Your task is not to manipulate, not to chase. Your task is to remain calm, perceptive, and consistent. Be the presence she can't ignore, the stability she secretly craves, and the understanding she secretly needs. Because men, this is where most fail. They see the attraction, but they panic. They act, they confess, they chase, and the very signals that should have been guides toward closeness collapse under pressure. True awareness, the kind that lets you hold influence without damaging it, is patience, restraint, and psychological acuity. Now let's dive deeper into what happens when her mind is caught in this tug of war. The 11th signal is almost invisible to the untrained eye, micro shifts in her daily priorities. She starts rearranging small parts of her life, the timing of her day, her social routines, even subtle choices about whom she spends time with. Nothing drastic, nothing obvious. But when these adjustments consistently create more space for you, it's a mental signpost. She is carving out room in her reality for you to exist emotionally, even if she cannot yet exist fully. This is not coincidence. Humans do not adjust daily patterns without emotional motivation. And when a woman starts making room for someone else inside her life, while still technically committed to another, her subconscious is signaling preference before her conscious mind admits it. She may not yet label it as falling, but the alignment is happening quietly, persistently, and powerfully. The 12th signal emerges in how she communicates tension. Conflict with her current partner begins to feel different. She may vent about things that never bothered her before. She may become impatient with issues that once seemed trivial. And when she vents near you, she doesn't filter as much. Her guard lowers. This is the internal negotiation between obligation and desire. You aren't just witnessing her feelings. You're becoming a psychological safe zone where she can test the emotional waters. Signal 13 is in her emotional memory. She recalls things about you that seem trivial, yet she treats them as sacred. An offhand joke you made weeks ago, a personal opinion you casually expressed. She repeats these things or references them. These memories are being indexed internally, prioritized, and emotionally weighted. When a woman starts cataloging moments with you over her current relationship, her subconscious is effectively rehearsing what could be without admitting it consciously. 14th, perhaps the most unnerving, she starts fantasizing mentally about scenarios involving you, even if she suppresses them vocally. These mental rehearsals are invisible, but they influence her behavior subtly. The way she lingers on certain conversations, the choice of words that carry double meaning, the careful testing of emotional boundaries. These are private rehearsals of desire and potential choice, and you will notice the traces in her energy. All of these signals are connected like threads in a hidden tapestry. Alone, one may seem coincidental. Together, they reveal an emotional shift that she cannot fully name yet. She is stepping toward you mentally, emotionally, and psychologically, before any confession, before any action. And understanding these signs is not about taking advantage. It's about seeing reality with clarity, recognizing truth before it speaks, and learning how to navigate it without panic. Remember, the power is not in your pursuit, it's in your awareness, the quiet, controlled, observant presence you maintain. Because men who see without rushing, who notice without pushing, will always understand the unspoken first and influence it most profoundly. Now let's talk about the 15th signal, the one that hits hardest because it operates beneath every conscious thought, her emotional honesty with herself. You'll notice small cracks in the facade she presents to the world. She hesitates before defending her current partner. She laughs a little too quickly to hide unease. She sometimes contradicts herself subtly when she talks about what she wants versus what she does. This is the signature of internal conflict, desire clashing with loyalty, and it is far more revealing than any confession she could give. 16th, and equally revealing, is her selective openness. She begins to share personal fears or regrets with you that she keeps locked from everyone else. Not because she wants advice, not because she's testing your loyalty, but because she unconsciously trusts you to witness her truth without judgment. This is a psychological anchor, a quiet tether that pulls her closer even if her conscious mind is screaming caution. You don't have to act on it, but recognizing it gives you an edge in understanding where she's emotionally invested. 17th is the subtle shift in her future thinking. She begins to reference moments or possibilities that include you, even hypothetically. Wouldn't it be nice if... Statements, casual mentions of shared experiences that never happened, or even jokes that imply scenarios with you. These are not flukes. They are mental rehearsals, tiny experiments in her mind where she imagines life differently, with you included. And this is a psychological step no one takes unless her heart is already wandering. The 18th signal is the intensity of her curiosity about your life. Not just surface-level interest, but the kind that probes into your values, habits, fears, and dreams. You'll notice she asks questions with follow-ups, picks up details, and remembers them. She begins connecting dots between your world and hers, subconsciously evaluating compatibility. This is not casual curiosity. This is emotional mapping, the brain laying a blueprint of intimacy before it can act on it. 19th, and perhaps the most dangerous if ignored, is the subtle jealousy she exhibits, not overt, but in nuanced forms. When someone flirts with you, or even compliments you excessively, she reacts in ways that betray more than politeness allows. It's micro-expressions, slight tension, a quick inhale, a pause in conversation. These tiny cracks reveal that her attention, her emotional energy, is no longer evenly distributed. You are becoming central in her internal hierarchy of importance. The cumulative weight of these signals is undeniable. Taken together, they reveal an emotional migration, a silent drift that is as profound as it is invisible to the casual observer. And men, this is where most fail, not because they don't notice, but because they act impulsively, breaking the delicate balance she's maintaining. The lesson here is relentless clarity. Observe, understand, and stay grounded. Your presence alone, patient, aware, unwavering, becomes the subtle force that influences her feelings far more than words ever could. The 20th and final hidden signal is perhaps the most profound. The way she prioritizes your emotional state without realizing it. She notices your moods, your energy, your unspoken cues, and adapts subtly. When she smiles, laughs, or gestures around you, it carries an unconscious intent to soothe, engage, or connect. This is not casual friendliness. This is emotional alignment, the kind that happens only when her heart is quietly, persistently shifting toward you. You may feel her presence differently than before, lighter, warmer, more magnetic, even when she is careful to maintain distance. That tension, the mix of closeness and restraint, is the signature of someone falling in silence. And here is the unspoken truth most men never see. Attraction isn't declared through words first. It moves through actions, energy, and subtle behavior. Every glance, every pause, every carefully measured gesture is a breadcrumb toward the emotional reality she cannot yet confess. Understand this. The mind of a woman torn between loyalty and desire is incredibly sensitive. One wrong word, one push for confession, one attempt to force clarity too soon, and you risk collapsing all the signals you've spent time observing. But if you remain calm, observant, and emotionally grounded, you become the constant she can't ignore, the quiet gravitational force that lets her emotions unfold without panic or judgment. There is a lesson here far bigger than attraction. It's about perception, patience, and the power of psychological awareness. You are not trying to manipulate her feelings. You are learning to read the unspoken language of desire, to recognize subtle shifts that most men dismiss, and to hold yourself in a way that honors both her complexity and your own dignity. Presence is power, observation is influence, and restraint is mastery. Now, take a moment to reflect. All 20 hidden signals are connected by one simple truth. Falling doesn't happen with words. It happens with perception, emotion, and subtle psychological alignment. When a woman starts gravitating toward you while still committed elsewhere, the signs are everywhere if you know where to look. You are witnessing the invisible architecture of attraction, a structure most men never see until it's too late. If you followed this carefully, you now possess an awareness most men lack. The choice is yours. Act with impulsive desire or act with informed restraint. Act recklessly, and the delicate balance shatters. Act wisely, and your presence becomes magnetic, unforgettable, and deeply influential. Remember, awareness alone shifts the energy around you. The quiet power is in knowing what she feels before she admits it, and carrying that knowledge with calm, unwavering certainty. Stay observant, stay grounded, and let the invisible currents reveal themselves naturally. The game is subtle, and the rewards belong only to those who understand it without breaking it.